Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Hey, Darrell, we got all kinds of things going on. Fall's in the air. We're almost heading towards the end of the year. We got exciting stuff happening, Darrell.
It is really exciting. And, you know, besides just the end of the year, the holidays and all of that, what I'm super excited about is the 2021 Authentic Selling Challenge that's going to be coming out in January. We've just started talking about that and promoting that. And we'll put the links in the show notes, but this is going to be pure dynamite. Just watch the people that are going to be involved in leading these sessions. Larry, of course, will be dripping those out over the holidays. But starting that second week in January, you do not want to miss the 2021 Authentic Sales Challenge. It's going to be a great way to get the year kicked off.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my favorite sayings, and it kind of puts a bow on this, is authenticity is a lifestyle. It's not a light switch. So I don't want us to think like all of a sudden we flip the light switch on this. But hey, if you want to embrace it, this is the authenticity and selling from the heart, my friends, this is a lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. So look for details to get involved in the show notes. It's going to spread out over a couple of weeks, and every day there's going to be inspiration, challenges, and we are going to get 2021 kicked off well, and it's going to be awesome. By the way, if you're new to the Selling from the Heart podcast, welcome. You've joined a growing community of sales professionals that are dedicated to being genuine, being authentic, adding real value. We call it Selling from the Heart. Speaking of genuine, authentic, and adding value, what about our guest today, Larry? Holy smoke, this is going to be a great conversation.
All I'm going to say is all of our listeners, just brace yourselves, right? Because this is going to be action-packed. Where do I begin, Darrell, with Brandon Bornancin? But I appreciate our friendship. I appreciate the conversations I've had with Brandon. This guy's a ball of fire. If I can take half of his energy and just digest it, I'd be just a better person. His videos early in the morning, I just love what this guy brings to sales. He's high energy, he's disciplined. He just knows what it takes to just get it done. And I'm super excited. Brandon Bornancin, welcome to Selling from the Heart.
Hey, what's going on? Larry, Darrell, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. Sitting down with two of my mentors, expert gurus that taught me a little bit about what I've learned along the way to success. Great to have you on and be here with you today.
Well, we're glad you're here, and this is going to be a really amazing conversation. I'm looking forward to it. But you know the question every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast gets, and that's simply this. Brandon, what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
Selling from the heart to me is something I learned when I was at IBM. Early on in my career, I started my sales career in entrepreneurship. My dad built the first $1 billion software company that inspired me to get into sales, and I got lucky with building a company for the online gambling industry. But it was all about me. I built a $12 million company at 18, 19, 20 years old, and it was for me to make money for me. And then the gambling industry went bankrupt. Well, was illegal in the US, so it just dissipated. I launched a second company, lost $3 to $4 million in 3 years of my life I'll never get back because we didn't have the list and we didn't know how to sell to the list. And then I started selling for IBM. And when I was at IBM, I was closing multi-million-dollar deals commissioned for me. And then about halfway through my career at IBM, started reading experts like Jill Conrath, Jeffrey Gitomer, you name it. And like the light switch went off where I just realized I had the big epiphany. If you want to get rich in life, in all aspects of life, you have to help other people get rich. You know, whatever that is, right? Getting rich, it could be more time with your family. Getting rich could be going on your vacation that you never thought you could do. Luckily, I had a chance to help a woman who's a single mom take her kids to Disney World for the first time ever. That to me is getting rich by helping her get rich and take her kids to Disney, which she never thought would be possible. That's what it's all about. I think it's going all in to inspire others to do more than they ever thought was possible, to achieve their goals and dreams and actualize that transformation. And for me, anything that I think about doing in social, in business, in life, in relationships, I just ask myself, if it will help one person it's worth it. And I don't care if 100 people hate me for it, antagonize me for it, you name it. If I think this could potentially help one person with what I'm about to say, I do it. And I think that's what it's about, selling from the heart, because I want everyone to get the life that they want, the family that they want, the vacations, the cars, the houses, the freedom that they want. Everything in this life, I believe, is there if you just help people identify the secrets or the strategies to make it happen.
It's so good. You know, I could sum up all this by just plainly just saying, just give a rip. And I can tell Brandon gives a rip. No pun on the sales secret book, but that's a secret right there. That's a secret. Just 100%. Giving a rip. And it's just the art of really, truly, from the bottom of your heart, wanting to help somebody. Because I'm a big believer, and I write about and selling from the heart. We speak about it all the time, Brandon. You just got to be able to help somebody. The more you help, the more you give, the more it comes back tenfold.
Yeah, 100%. Like my company started because I built the software to sell for Google and IBM, and I became a multimillionaire in sales. I was making over $1 million a year. And I was like, I remember the first call I got where my accountant called me and she's like, hey, we owe you $100,000 commission check. And it was the first 6-figure monthly commission check I ever got. And when I got that call, I was hungover at the Cosmopolitan in Vegas. It was the only vacation I took in like 3 years. The one time I take a vacation, my accountant calls me and she's like, hey, we've got a problem. And I'm hungover Friday morning in the Cosmopolitan, staring up the ceiling. My buddy, we were there for a poker tournament because I'm a big poker player. And I'm like, anytime your accountant calls you, you're in trouble, right? And she's like, hey, we owe you a $137,000 commission check this month. We should probably pay it over like 3 pay periods or 5 pay periods so you don't get nailed on the taxes. And I'm like, what do you, like, I was Daisy. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, 13,000. And she's like, no, you close this deal, this deal, this deal, this deal, this deal. It's $137,000 this month. And it just hit me. I got chills, almost cried. My whole life changed because I was able to connect to the people that I need to sell to generate the revenue. And then right in that second, I was like, I'm quitting my job. I'm literally going to walk away from a multi-million-dollar sales annual paycheck to then go help other people. I'm going to go all in and build this platform to help other people accomplish the same. And for years, I invested every dollar I had, years of my time, zero paycheck. Could you imagine working like 7 days a week for years, $0? But I had this dream that I want 100,000 people to win our 6-figure club award, our 7-figure club award, and just I went all in on helping people maximize their potential. And I think that is the epitome of selling from the heart. Going all in on helping, like this book, I built an 8-figure company that's going to be at 9 figures soon. No one wastes 250 hours on interviews, sales interviews, right? Larry's in the book. Darrell, we got to get you in the book. Like, you don't spend 2 to 3 hours per interview, 100 plus interviews, then spend a year writing the book, then a half a year editing the book, whatever. Like, unless you're all in selling from the heart, trying to maximize people's potential. That's why I do what I do. And I know if I could help people get what they want in life, I'll be able to have everything I want in life. And for me, the biggest happiness that I get is someone, a day ago, someone from Tokyo messaged me that they found the next biggest deal from Seamless in the book. And someone from India, used the book and it inspired them to not give up on sales, or they used Seamless to close their 7-figure deal and it allowed them to get their dream house for their family, and they're building their dream house and they lived in an apartment. That's what selling from the heart's all about. Like, all in on your prospect and your customer. And I just found, like, every time I do that, I double my income every year, or I double my sales results at a minimum. Every year I've grown 300 to 1,000% sales results, business results. I would even call it professional development, personal development. And all day, every day, it's just like, how do I help my customers? For me, it's all about getting to the 7-figure club. So anyone that I work with, I want them to generate $1 million in sales from the strategies or technologies that I develop. Because I know if I could help them do that, they'll be a lifetime advocate, evangelist, customer, you name it. And anything I do, it's like, if I could help one person get closer to the 7-figure club award, and that was the 6-figure club award. We actually spent about $1,000 per award. we print those and we ship them out, I lose money on a deal. Like if you buy my software and then I owe you the award, like I could eventually lose money on the deal. And that's what selling from the heart's about, right? It's like,
it's so fun.
I don't care about that.
Hey, Darrell, I'm Brandon, I could listen to you all day long, man. But so I'm not a gambler, right? I never really got into it, but listening to what Brandon has to say, Darrell, is like all I envisioned in listening to this was the roulette wheel going round and round and round, because Brandon threw everything all in on red. How do you like that one? All in on red, heart, selling from the heart. Yes, got it.
Well, and it is an amazing story, by the way, and what has been built up around Seamless and all the things you're doing is incredible. And yet here we are in recording this in the fourth quarter of 2020. Things are rocking and rolling. And then all of a sudden, boom, we hit the beginning of this year. And I remember being at Sales 3.0 right before it was my last, I call it the Last Supper. Larry and I were hanging out there. It was the last time we were traveling, and we ate out and all that stuff. And I remember being at that conference, and some of the weight of what was unfolding was starting to kind of drift into the room. And then boom, here we are, facing an unexpected crisis of epic proportions. Yeah. And I love your story, though, because you didn't freak out. You started writing. Share a little bit about those moments, because I think the story behind the book that's about to be released is really epic.
Yeah. So my new book coming out, I got to get that easel that we talk about. These books keep falling. Danielle.
Hey, for you guys can't see it, but Brandon's got his books propped up, and they keep falling down about every minute or so. So you should see the expression on his face.
It's good. It's a lot of fun.
Power of gravity. That's authenticity, right? Larry and Darrell, they talk about being authentic. Like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. You just
it's the real deal.
Go and go do it. But yeah, I was fortunate enough. So we're talking about when COVID hit and the unprecedented recession and crisis and going into survival mode. I got lucky because my first startup was just finishing during the start of the financial crisis when I was 20 years old. I launched a second startup at 21, 22, and 23 during the worst economic time in financial history, the financial crisis of 2007, 2008, 2009. And in mobile, my second company lost $3 to $4 million. I went $100K in debt. I had to steal food to eat out of my office fridge with how bad, because like my family was going through a bankrupt time because like we had so many leveraged properties. We had so many investments that went to shit. So I was running this company that I was over leveraged. I couldn't get money from my family. No one could help me out. So I got lucky that I've been through that experience before as an entrepreneur. And then I went full-time into sales. And when I was full-time into sales, I just kind of learned the secrets. But when it came to the coronavirus and the pandemic, I knew this was going to be possibly way worse than the financial crisis. I just forecasted 24 months of hell, and no one's going to want to buy into it or believe it. So Danielle and I, my COO, who's also my fiance, my fiance, my COO, my VP of marketing, my VP of success, my VP of product and VP of sales, we've all built companies together since we were 18. So what's really cool is we've done this before, like over the course of like 13 years, and we knew it's going to be 24 months. We have to have an emergency meeting. And Danielle and I remember at the dinner table strategizing till like midnight. How are we going to get everyone? How do we not lay off anyone? How do we make sure everyone's jobs are saved? How do we make sure all of our users are okay? What can we do to help our users maximize their success during this tough economic time, you name it? And we outlined these core values and belief systems that I had, that Danielle had, that our management team developed and used internally at our company so that we could always do whatever it takes to be successful. And then after outlining it, every day I was working out from 4:30 to 6 a.m. And instead I was like, I'm going to write from 5 to 7 a.m. And then from 7 to 8:30, I'm going to work out. And over the course of 22 days, wrote hundreds of pages about my new book called Whatever It Takes. master the habits to transform your business, your relationships, and your life. These are 12 core habits that we've leveraged to fight through the recession, to grow 300 to 1,000% during the pandemic. How I laid off 0 employees and created another 100 jobs during the recession, during this pandemic, and how we acquired thousands of customers during one of the worst economic times of our crisis. It was because my team and I, we instilled and ingrained whatever it takes in the core 12 habits that back that up. And it's been amazing. And I couldn't believe that it just hit me so hard. It was the fastest book I ever wrote.
Wow.
Because I think it was just something I always believed in and I always lived by. And then to put pen to paper, and this was going to be just a book for our company, kind of like how I built Seamless just for myself. But every time I do something for myself and then I give it away, it skyrockets your potential and skyrockets your success, because you're doing exactly what Larry and Darrell say. You're selling from the heart. It's not about you. Anything you do is not about you. And that's what whatever it takes is about. I want everyone to read this book. And I believe a true leader is someone that inspires you to do more than you ever thought was possible, than what you could do on your own. This book will give you all the habits, the tactics, the tools, the strategies, and the belief systems to maximize your professional and personal life and to transform your business and your relationships.
So good.
So good. Hey, I'm just dying to know, you got to drop. I mean, if you can give us a little sneak peek in our listeners, what would be some of there's all these habits, but if you could share one or two with our listeners and just give them a sneak and a walkthrough into this.
Yeah. And let me qualify it a little bit too. Let's, as we're now looking into a new year, and this is a make or break year for many people. This is, we got to get it right in 2021. So in terms of a sales professional and a sales leader that's looking into 2021, what are some of the, top things from the top 12 that you think are most relevant to us right now?
Yeah. The biggest thing that I did when we had the emergency meetings and we were meeting with the team, I said, look, guys, for us to generate the same results that we were generating before the pandemic, before the recession, before this economic crisis, to generate those exact same results, it's going to take 300 to 500% the work effort, the output, the activity, the results, and it's going to suck. I'm just telling you, now we have to work 3 to 5x as hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be the hardest thing in the world that we go through. But guess what? If we put in 300 to 500%, the activity, the work, the output, the effort, all of us, it will be worth it in the end when we come out on the back half of this. And it was the first thing I said in these emergency meetings. I had a big, 100 plus employees emergency meeting. I'm like, we're going to have to put in 300, 500%. We're going to have to embrace the suck. It's going to be painful, but I promise you it will be worth it. And I just got everyone around the mindset that it will take more time, more effort, more work, more capital, more failure, more conquering, more challenges, more tenacity than anything we've ever experienced in our lives. Everyone is going to underestimate everything related to this pandemic, and we will not be one of the groups that underestimates anything. That was the first secret. That was the first habit. And then the next habit was another secret habit is obsession with improvement. 1 to 5% improvement every day. Because if you improve 1%, so sales days or business days, there's 265 business days in a year. You basically lose 100 due to weekends, right? So 265 business days, sales days. If we improve 1% every day, it's not 265% because 1% compounds every day. So it's 1% times the 1%. And then you've got the 1.01% times the 1%, then the 1.02, it keeps compounding. So you're going to improve 300, 400, 500% by the end of the year. So I got everyone around. We have to improve our strategy, our intelligence, our activity. We're going to have to get smarter. Let's do less with more. What's the 80-20 rule? What is producing, what are the 20% of the things that we're doing that produce 80% of the results? And let's go all out on those. Cut out any of the bullshit that isn't driving the results because 1, we have to put in 300, 500% the work. We have to cut down on budgets. We have to make every dollar maximize what we're doing. We have no option. We got to do the 80-20 rule, and we got to improve 1 to 5% every day. And luckily that allowed us to grow 10 to 15% month over month. I mean, we're the smallest company on the LinkedIn top 50 startups. We just won the #1 best places to work in the US. I believe it's because of this book, Whatever It Takes. Not I believe. I know the reason why we're one of the top 100 fastest growing SaaS companies in the US, top 50 LinkedIn startups in the US, #1 best places to work is because our whole company is all in on whatever it takes and the 12 core habits that we teach. And a lot of those core habits too are ingrained in selling from the heart, going all in on the customer. There were a lot of things that we had to do to support the customers, giving them extra services, giving them extra value, giving them extra support, even like helping them write their scripts, do selling, build lists. Like we went all out. We probably increased our support team, our success team, the amount of stuff that we delivered for our customers by 300%. But everyone was okay with that because we had the emergency meetings. We did whatever it takes. We got everyone ingrained that we're going to have to do 300 to 500% more activity, more work than what we originally did. But it's going to pay off in the end.
Hey, Darrell, as I start listening to that, and Brandon, I mean, just so much respect for what you just said, because in listening to what Brandon said, and this is why what I say, Brandon just validated to, all the Selling from the Heart listeners are out there right now. I always say this is those leaders that lead from the heart show how much they care about their employees and their lives. They'll go to bat and turn around and they sell from the heart. And, the biggest thing I got out of listening to this, Brandon, and hats off to you, is you invested, right? To use the gambling phrase, you doubled down. You doubled down on everything about your employees and ensured that the more that you invested in them, the more that you'd be able to collect and in turn help your business grow. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100%. We started our company on a mission to positively impact 1 billion people and help the world connect opportunity. And Danielle, our COO, she says that starts with our employees. Like if we're not maximizing the professional and personal development and success of our employees, then that's not going to happen to our customers. Danielle and I work 7 days a week, and we're on call 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for our employees. Danielle's a super lawyer, a master's in psychology. She's a genius. I'm good at sales, marketing, motivation, success. Like our whole management team, we're on call 18/7. And for our employees, and they know that no matter what, if it's bankruptcy, is it a bad relationship? Is it motivation? Am I stuck? Brandon will never judge me. And Brandon will just help me figure out what is the problem and what do I need to overcome to go from point A to point B, the success that I want to achieve. And that's just how mentally we don't judge anyone. Life is so hard to judge people that we're just all in on maximizing everyone's success here at our company and my network. The same goes, we do that for our employees, but we do that with anyone in our network that's a customer, you name it. We're just all in. And maybe I should have called the book All In, but that will be my next one.
That's so good. Hey, I want to go back to this concept of marginal gains. And I think the idea, the solid, you hear, how are we going to increase our results that dramatically, that quickly? But when you start doing the math on the 1%, plus 1%, plus 1%, and adding that up, compounding that over 12 months, that mindset right there is really brilliant. However, I'm curious in terms of how you look at this, how do you determine what the 1% is going to be today? Like, where do you find these marginal gains inside your company and inside your own life? Because that right there is the magic, I think, in terms of being able to drive dramatic increases in results.
Yeah, that's a great question, Darrell. I use a weighted algorithm for everything that I do. So I score in every division that we have at the company: marketing, sales, customer success, engineering, product, HR, anything that we do. Each department, I've got a weighted index on any task that we have to do. We score it based on a number of factors. Like, does this increase revenue? Does this increase our tribe? Does this increase customer success, winning the 7-figure club? So there's up to roughly 5 or 7 variables per department that I have to score, that we all have to score on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest score. And then each of those variables has like an algorithm, a weight essentially, that would then multiply it. So it tells you, based on the goals of the department, based on how you scored this task gets a score of 97. This task gets a score of 63. This task gets a score of 24, you name it. And I actually use a tool, happy to give them some love. I use a tool called Air Focus. I used to use a tool called aha.io, and then I switched to Air Focus just because it was easier. You'll see how you can type in the tasks, you can type in the scores, and I score everything I do so that I'm working on the smartest things that would drive the biggest impact. It's too easy as entrepreneurs, salespeople, marketers, you name it, to work on things that don't maximize the impact that you're trying to make on this world. And those scorecards help you be real and honest with yourself so that you don't get, like, I love podcasts, but they actually score the lowest on the biggest things that I could be doing: ads, webinars, new product features, mass advertising. That would get more users, more customers over a podcast. But, you have to just balance like giving value, on a podcast or a book or whatever. Those always score the lowest, but I'm the most excited about those. So I do them anyway. Like, you have this fine balance between books, podcasts, PR, and like other stuff. And as long as you read it all, and then you always got to reverse engineer the annual goal. This is another secret in whatever it takes. What's your annual goal? Make sure it's massive, and then divide it by 265, the number of sales days. And then that's your daily goal. And then whatever you do for that day to hit your goal, you always want to make sure that you're improving 1% every day. So for example, I'm not great at pull-ups. Like, I screwed up my shoulder in football like a decade ago, and I've never been great again at pull-ups since I screwed up my shoulder. So to start out, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to do one pull-up today. Next day, I'm going to do 2. And even though I could do like 100 or 50 in a day, I'm going to start super small, and then I'm going to just improve 1 every day. Boom. And then by day 7, okay, I got 7. Day 14, okay, I got 14 that day. Day 21, and then you really build. It's all about consistency, repeated over time, maximizes your long-term success. Another whatever it takes habit is you have to have a decade marathon-long mindset. Everyone underestimates, like I talked about earlier with the pandemic and COVID, everyone underestimates the amount of time, money, energy, failure, tenacity, investment, sacrifice, energy, hard work it's going to take to be successful. The only reason why I'm still here, my company's still here. I had multiple engineers that I hired, trying to build the Google for sales that finds emails and cell phones for everyone in the world. Every engineer that I hired thought that we were going to build the next Facebook, LinkedIn in 6 months and become billionaires. Year after year, they all quit. Every 6 months or a year, they would quit because they're like, oh, we're not billionaires. I quit. Well, they had this 6-month mindset. I had the 10-year mindset, and I was going to do whatever it takes for the next 10 years to be successful. So you got to do everything daily, consistently, repeated, proactively over time. And you got to improve every day. And then that will, if you focus on the long-term 10-year game, you'll never quit because you'll never be disappointed. The reason why people quit is because they get disappointed with what they're doing. And the only reason why they get disappointed is because they're not doing whatever it takes, which is the whole point of my new book.
No, it's so good because it's about patience, right? And to me, we got to have that short-term. I think it's a combination of both. It's just my opinion on this is we got to stay focused on the here and now in the short term. But if we don't marry in mid and long-term vision and what we need to do to get there, then we're always chasing the chase. If you get what I'm saying, Brandon.
100%.
is what I respect about you, and we all have those setback moments, is we got to be willing to maximize our time, and we have to be willing to have patience and consistently do it every single day.
Yeah. Well, like I remember I asked you, you were a mentor to me. You were one of the first people I talked to. I was like, hey, Larry, how'd you write your book, man? I love Selling from the Heart. How'd you write the book? And you're like, dude, I just wrote a lot. And I just consistently wrote. And you and a number of authors, I mean, Jill, there were so many people that helped coach me, Anthony Iannarino, Keith Rosen, Stu Heineke, Aaron Ross, like Jeffrey Gitomer, all of you in the book, in my Sales Secrets book, you guys all said one of the biggest secrets that I got from that was you just have to write almost every day. And it sucks day one, but then day 365, you're pretty damn good because you never gave up on day one. And it's going to suck. Like I mentioned, it will not be fun. It will be terrible. There'll be a lot of hard work. You will want to quit. But in the end, you will look back and say, Brandon, you're right. It was worth it. And you can either quit and never achieve your goals and dreams, or you can put in the work, go through the hardship, and hit the milestone at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And just like we were doing this podcast, like now I've got this whole video studio. I got 50 different cameras everywhere and stuff. But dude, 5 years ago, I had an iPhone. I had four 55-inch TVs, and it took me 3 hours to do a 2-minute video because I was scared shitless, with the teleprompter, trying to read the damn teleprompter. And I would spend 5 hours trying to do a 2-minute video, and then I'd get 30 views. Right. but doing it, I was just like, hey, I just got to stay committed to this thing. I'm going to shoot video. I'm going to shoot content. I know if I could share one strategy that could potentially change someone's life forever for the better, even if it's only 20 views, 30 views, even though I suck, even though people may hate the way I look, the way that I dress, whatever, it'll be worth it. And then over time, now, we've got 1 million viewers every 48 hours. We've got 50,000 plus followers, 250,000 salespeople, marketers, entrepreneurs on Seamless.AI, you name it. So it's that long game. You got to play the long game, and you got to go all in to maximize the success of your customers.
Brandon, this has been so good. And I think that the way this conversation is shaping up now, and we're bumped up against the time already. Wow. First of all, I just want to say a huge thank you. I'm really inspired. And I think this was a very timely conversation, not just for me, but I think for a lot of the folks that are listening in. So thank you for your passion, and thank you for thank you for writing all this down and taking the time to do it. I can't wait to read the book.
Yeah, thank you so much. And, I don't consider myself a great writer. I just document what I've learned and what I know. And I hope that it helps all of you accomplish, whatever you want to accomplish in this life. And if I could help you get a little bit closer, then it was all worth it.
So good. So good. Well, I think as we wrap up this conversation, and as we're wrapping up this year and we're planning now for the new year, so many things that we talked about today are so critical. Like, where do you want to be in 10 years? This is a great time to sit down and reflect on that. And then where do you want to be next year, and reverse engineer that and make a commitment to marginal improvement in the things that are driving you success. So, Larry, I am so fired up right now. I'm ready to just jump off this podcast and get to work. I don't know about you, but this has been a fantastic conversation.
Now I got to look back and go, okay, what did I do? What have I done right now that I got 1% better at?
There you go. Well, hopefully you got 1% better at podcasting today. So, and that's the challenge to all of us. Hey, Brandon, thank you for all your passion. Thank you for all you're doing. We'll put the link to the book as it comes out. We'll be.
Yeah, it's on Amazon right now. So you can get the book on Amazon for pre-order right now. And it goes live January 5th. And then this book just came out. #1 bestseller in 24 hours. Highly recommend it. All of the top salespeople are in this book, and they share their top secrets to sales success. Grab it on Amazon. And guys, thank you so much for having me on the show. I truly appreciate it.
No, I'm super fired up.
Yeah. Thank you, Brandon. And thank you to everybody in the Selling from the Heart community. It's great interacting with you. It's great seeing many of you and your happy faces inside the Selling from the Heart Insiders group. And by the way, if you'd like to learn more about joining a community of fellow sales professionals that are dedicated to being authentic, driving real value, and achieving unbelievable results, head over to sellingfromtheheart.net/insiders. You can learn more and actually join us for free for 30 days. We'd love to have you. But until next week, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep adding real value, do whatever it takes, and most of all, sell from the heart.